مشاهدينا على الفضائية تونس 21، أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم وترحاب خاصة بتلاميذ البكالوريا اللي تتابعوا فينا كل يوم من 5 ل 6 مع حصة الدروس التلفزية. اليوم اخترنا المادة أنها تكون درس في مادة الإنجليزية. كالعادة مجموعة من الأساتذة الأكفاء يكونوا حاضرين بحذنا لتقديم الإجابة حول الأسئلة. تقدموا لنا على أرقام الهاتف نتاعنا 71 800 814 ولا 71 280 089. هذه الأرقام المتوفرة على ذمتكم. إذا كنت تحبوا تتصلوا بنا وإذا كان عندكم أي سؤال يخطر على بالكم في مادة الإنجليزية نقول لكم أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. كالعادة واجب أن نرحبوا بالأساتذة اللي موجودين بحذنا. على يميني سي حافظ السلامي، أهلا وسهلا مرحبا بك أستاذ. الأستاذة مريم بكار، أهلا وسهلا مرحبا. الأستاذة نزيهة شمام والأستاذ وليد بكراع، مرحبا بكم. إذا نعاود نذكركم برقم الهاتف 71 800 814 71 280 089. وعنا كالعادة الأستوديو الموازي يكونوا موجودين فيه زاد أساتذة ومتفقد المادة. أكيد رحبوا بهم. زاد رحبوا بالسيدة هالة البرقاوي، هي متفقدة المادة. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بك مدام. أيضا رحبوا بسي فتحي اللواتي والأستاذ محمد العربي القسوري. والكلمة عندك سيدة هالة، تفضل.
Good afternoon. Welcome to all the learners watching this program today and who are looking forward to getting some clarifications about a few areas in the English test they have difficulties dealing with. Many of you have been calling us for the last 2 hours and we'll try to answer your questions within the time allocated. I hand it over to my colleagues who will give you an overview of the test.
شكرا، يعطيك الصحة أستاذة أو متفقد المادة. إذا نمشيو معك سي حافظ، الكلمة عندك، تفضل.
Okay. Welcome everybody. First, we are going to speak about the reading comprehension part of the back test. Here are some tips. You will have a text comprising 250 to 350 words. The text can be understood by the average student. You are required to read it twice or 3 times in order to find out the main idea and also to know some important details. Do not panic if there are unfamiliar words. Try to understand them through context, or maybe you don't need to understand them to answer the questions. Do not forget to read all titles, subtitles, and words at the bottom of the page. Pay attention to multiple choice questions. There is always only one single correct answer. You have to answer according to the requirements. If you are asked to tick, do put a tick. If you are asked to circle, do circle. This is for the clarity, the neatness, and the correctness of your answers.
Here are other tips related to the reading comprehension component. Always complete tables and charts with precise details picked from the text. Avoid to write whole sentences. Always complete tables and charts with precise details picked from the text. Avoid to write whole sentences or parts of sentences which may include unnecessary details. Be careful to details which can fault your answers. For the questions asking to correct false statements, it is wrong to indicate that they are also false or true. Do not turn the statements to the negative or to the affirmative to prove they are false or to correct them. You simply have to find the right detail or the convenient phrase in the given paragraph. If you give unnecessary details, words or phrases, you risk to lose marks. The answers to WH questions should always be clear and precise.
شكرا لك، يعطيك الصحة أستاذة. إذا نمشيو معك سيدة نزيهة أو سيد وليد بكرع، تفضل.
Here are other tips dealing with the reading comprehension questions. For the reference questions, you have to read and reread the context before and after the underlined words to give a definitely precise answer. For words corresponding to given equivalents or definitions, do not forget to replace the equivalent or the definition with the words in the text to check if it is the right answer. Select only the required item. A newly introduced type of question is to identify the communicative function corresponding to a statement or to identify the exponent of a given function. In this, you have to refer to your acquired list of main functions, such as apologizing, complaining, advising, etc. The last question, which asks for your personal justified opinion, is always related to the text. Start from your understanding and give brief answers. Be clear, precise, and convincing. Do not copy literally from the text.
شكرا لك أستاذ وليد بكرع. إذا السيدة نزيهة تتفضل بالنصائح متاعك.
I'd like to talk about the second part of the test, which is the writing part. The writing component consists in two separate tasks. It is marked out of 15 for the arts students and out of 12 for the other students. For the first task of the writing part, you will have one of the following three types of exercises. Yes, here they are. Writing a short text from notes, completing a dialogue, developing full sentences from notes. The second part now. The second task of the writing part is marked out of 10 for the art students and out of 8 for the other students. You will be asked to write an article, a speech, a report, a letter, or an email. Here I'd like to remind our students to allocate enough time to deal with the two tasks in the appropriate way, that is about 45 minutes.
شكرا لك أستاذة مريم بكر. إذا هذه كانت النصائح العامة بالنسبة لدرس الإنجليزية لليوم اللي تنجموا تستعينوا بها في الامتحانات نتاعكم. تويكا نمشيو مع بعضنا للتفاصيل، نمشيو للأسئلة اللي انتم طرحتوها علينا على 71 800 814 ولا على 71 280 089 وشرعنا في أخذ المكالمات الهاتفية في الأستوديو الموازي من قبل انطلاق الحصة. تفضلوا نعطيكم الكلمة. الميكرو لو كان أستاذ تتناول الميكرو سامحني. إعادة السؤال خاطر ما وصلناش.
Sorry for that.
تفضل.
I have two questions here concerning the reading part, namely the smaller task. Students would like to know how to deal with the question of completing a gapped paragraph. In other words, those dialogues that are missing some parts. What clues help them to fill in those parts? In addition to that, we had a question concerning the same task, which is about adding or not adding notes. It's about the notes that are provided, and the task of the student is that they are supposed to develop sentences, full sentences from these notes. So I repeat, are they supposed to add any notes to the given ones, and do they keep the same order or change the order of those notes? Please allow me to remind you people that you are going a little bit too fast. If you went just a little slower, it would be perfect. Thank you.
شكرا لك أستاذ. إذا أستاذ حافظ السلامي تفضل بالإجابة.
All right, thank you. Dialogue completion, which belongs to task 1 of writing. the so-called guided writing that can be out of either 4 or 5 marks, depending on the section. Dialogue completion consists in completing a dialogue, a conversation, or an interview. Here, the students have to be careful about 3 things. 1, what to use, a question or an answer, a declaration or instructions. 2, the type of question required, yes, no question, WH question, direct or indirect questions. 3, the tense and form to be used in making the questions or the statements, and this should be in accordance with what precedes or follows. Let me give you an example. As you will see on the screen here, we have a conversation or an interview between a journalist and a chef in a restaurant. There are questions and answers. Let's start. The journalist: hello, I'm journalist and I'd like to blanks, and the students here have to write what is convenient. For James, the chief says, yes, but I have only a little time to answer them. When we look at this part, so we conclude that the students have to write a declaration or a statement or an expression of request which says, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Let's move on to the second difficulty. The second difficulty, there is blank and a question mark, and James is given an answer. I work about 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the answer here comprises numbers, it talks about a quantity, and we need to ask a question about this quantity. Questions asking about quantity normally start with how many. So how many hours a day do you work? The third difficulty, we have to look at the answer first. I have to stand in the kitchen all day, so I sometimes feel exhausted. And the students have to write a question in the blanks given for them, in the space given for them. Okay, and the question can be, what is hard about your job? What is tiring about your job? What is annoying about your job? What is, etc. There are a variety of words that the student can use here. Finally, the journalist asks question, do you like your job? And James, the chef, is supposed to answer either with yes or no, since it is a yes-no question. So people can be demanding or can be too demanding, but I like what I'm doing, or I like my job, I like my duties. So this is concerning the question on dialogue completion.
شكرا سيدي الكريم، يعطيك الصحة. إذا نمشي معك سيدة نزيهة شمام تعطينا الإجابة على السؤال المطروح علينا الثاني.
Concerning the students' question about developing sentences from notes, you should know that in this type of exercise, you will be provided with 4 or 5 separate sentences which are part of the same paragraph. In each sentence, there are some difficulties, and you will have to develop the notes given into full grammatically correct sentences. So you will have to add articles, as you can see on the screen. You can add articles, prepositions, pronouns, relative pronouns, linkers, auxiliaries, modals, etc. You will have to put verbs and words in the right tense and form, or right tense or form. You asked whether you could change the order of the words. Actually, you must not change the order of the words. You have to keep the same order. We can see an example. Let's see the example on the screen. The question is, develop the following notes into coherent sentences. First, you have to read what is given in order to understand the context. Then you start answering the question. If we start with the first sentence, as you can see here, you are given sentence parts, and we can see that we have here 4 slashes. So this means that you have 4 difficulties. Quit / smoking. So we need a subject for this sentence. So quitting smoking. Then we have be. We need to put the verb to be in the right tense and form. Quitting smoking is hard. Why the simple present? Because this is something true. It is always true that quitting smoking is hard. We have then a slash. Not impossible. Hard, not impossible. There is contrast. So we can use the linker but. Quitting smoking is hard, but not impossible, as long as you really want. We know that we want to do something. We want to kick the habit. This is the first sentence. Let's pass to the second sentence. You have good chance. Chance is a countable noun. So we need an article because it's singular. You have a good chance to stop smoking. To stop smoking how? To stop smoking successfully. It's an adverb. If you think, we need a preposition. Think of doing something. So if you think of quitting as a process, it's not to quit smoking suddenly or immediately. The third sentence, you have to deal. Your social habit. We know that to deal requires a preposition. You have to deal with your social habit. We have comma. Your psychology / dependence. So, dependence noun. What do we need before it? We need an adjective. So, your psychological dependence. Then we have / your physical addict. We have a social habit, comma, your psychological dependence, and your physical what? Physical addiction. The fourth sentence, Dr. Clement recommends something. So he believes in this. This is his opinion. So we need the simple present. Dr. Clement recommends a therapy. We have here therapy consists. So a therapy which consists. And we know that to consist in, which consists in doing something, in decreasing nicotine doses. So we have now our full sentences, and these sentences, they make a coherent paragraph. We have not changed the order of the words, but just we have made them correct sentences. I hope I have answered your question.
شكرا لك أستاذة نزيهة، يعطيك الصحة على الإجابة. إذا نذكركم برقم الهاتف نتاعنا 71 800 814 أو 71 280 089. تنجموا تتصلوا بنا على الأرقام هذه. الخط مازال مفتوح على ذمتكم إلى حدود الساعة 6 مساء في الأستوديو الموازي. شنو اللي عندكم أسئلة؟ تفضلوا.
Okay. So we have gathered 2 questions related to the language parts. In the first one, students are asking about what can help them turn the bracketed words into the correct tense or form. Whereas in the second, students would like to know what can help them choose the right alternative among the three given options.
شكرا لك أستاذ. إذا الإجابة باش توزع بين السيدة مريم بكار والأستاذ وليد بكرة. تفضل أستاذة.
As far as the right form and tense is concerned, we advise our students to read the whole paragraph first to get the general meaning and to identify the context in which the paragraph is written. Then they should underline the keywords that can help them find the right tense, and they have to read what is after the blank because they may have hints. Here is an example. So you should read the whole paragraph first and then start reading it sentence by sentence. 13 years ago, two writers at the Wall Street Journal first used the term glass ceiling. In the first sentence, we have a key word, which is ago.
أستاذة نبدلوا بالميكرووات. تستوجب الإعادة؟ تفضل عاود أستاذة.
Then, as far as the type of exercise you asked about, the right tense and right form, we advise our students to read the whole paragraph first to get the general meaning of it and identify the context of the paragraph. Then they are advised to underline the keywords that can help them find the right tense, and they are also advised to read after the blank because there are hints that can help them. Here is an example. So after reading the whole paragraph, start reading it sentence by sentence. 13 years ago, two writers at the Wall Street Journal first used the term glass ceiling. In the first sentence, we have the keyword ago, which gives us the context, and we know that the context is past. That's why, we have used in the verb use in the simple past, first used. It, then you have the verb use between brackets to describe the invisible but largely impenetrable barrier to women's promote in the workplace. It here refers to the term glass ceiling, and of course it cannot use itself, but it was used by the two writers. That's why we need a passive verb. It was used to describe the invisible but largely impenetrable barrier to women's, and here we have the possessive S and then the word promote in brackets. We need a noun that is the possessive S, so women's promotion, which can be paraphrased by the promotion of women in the workplace. Later on, the term quick in brackets became part of the cultural lexis. So how did it become? It quickly became part of the cultural lexis. We use the adverb before a verb. Recently, glass ceiling became, in brackets, a controversial topic. We underline the word recently, which is usually used with the present perfect. So glass ceiling has become a controversial topic. Some people think that it doesn't really matter. Others believe that the idea no longer have relevance in today's workplace. No longer means that the habit stopped in the past and doesn't continue in the present. So we need to use the simple present. The idea no longer has relevance in today's workplace. At the same time, more and more the verb succeed women in the corporate field. Then you have the comparative more and more, and women. We need the adjective more and more successful women in the corporate field have been able open windows through glass ceiling and to make it to the top. So to make it to the top gives us a hint to the previous verb, therefore have been able to open and to make it to the top.
Some students asked about the multiple choice question in the reading comprehension, in the language part of the test, of the exam. So before dealing with this type of exercise, I advise you to read the whole paragraph in order to identify the main idea. Then, as my colleague said, you read sentences one by one in order to identify the hints before and after the difficulties, which will help you to choose the right options. So here we have an example for you. Circle the correct alternative. There are thousands of websites where you can post your CV online and complete an online job application. Applicants either apply online between brackets from / throughout / via a job board or directly at the company's website. For the preposition from, normally we use from when we say from something to something. Here we don't have to something, so from is impossible in this case. Throughout is used to talk about place or time in some cases, but here we are talking about job board on the internet, so we use via, which can be replaced with by means of. So the right alternative is via a job board or directly at the company's website. In some cases, applicants between brackets are required / require / required to register and build an employment profile. Here, applicants are not the doer of the action, so we need the passive voice, and are required is the passive voice in the simple present, whereas require and required are in the active voice. Require is in the simple present and required in the simple past. So the right alternative to circle is are required. Applicants are required to register and build an employment profile. Once you have built your profile, you, between brackets, can, must, or would apply for jobs. Here we have 3 alternatives and they are all modals. Would is normally used in a conditional context, and here we don't have a conditional context, so it's not would. Must is used to express obligation. It's not the case here. Can is used to express ability, which is the case here. So you can, so you circle can, apply for jobs and set up search agents. To, between brackets, send / email / chat you when new jobs are added. Normally, send, we use send to say to send you what, or to send you where, or to send you to whom. Here we have to send you when new jobs are added. It's not logical, so send is impossible in this case. The verb to chat is normally used with the preposition with, to chat with someone. Here we don't have with, we have you. So to email you means to send you an email. So the right alternative to circle is to email you when new jobs are added. Applicants can then apply online for specific positions at any time between brackets whose slash when slash that is suitable for them. Here we have three relative pronouns, but whose is used normally before a noun. It's the possessive. So here we have is. So whose is impossible in this case. Same thing. When is used before a subject. We can say when it is suitable for them, but here we don't have it. So when is impossible. The only correct alternative is that, which can be replaced by which. So at any time that is suitable for them. On many job sites, comma, job between brackets, seekers slash employers slash workers can keep track of the positions they have applied for. Here, the students in this difficulty are asked to distinguish between the meaning of these three terms. Seekers is the person or are the persons who are looking for a job. To seek means to look for. So here we are talking about people who are looking for a job. So it's job seekers and not employers or workers who are already working. So job seekers can keep track of the positions they have applied for.
شكرا لك أستاذ وليد على الإجابة وعلى التوضيح. إذا كالعادة نمر للأستوديو الموازي، لكن قبل هذا نذكركم برقم الهاتف 71 800 814. أرقام الهاتف في الحقيقة 71 280 0 89. نشوفوا في الأستوديو الموازي السيدة هيلا البرقاوي الأساتذة المصاحبين لها. شنو الأسئلة المطروحة عليكم؟ تفضلوا.
Hello again. I would like to take you back to the writing question. Ramla from Bizerta has called to ask whether there are differences between writing a narrative text and an argumentative one.
أستاذ لو كنت تقرب الميكرو بالكدا تفضل.
I'm trying hard. Ramla from Bizerta has asked to inquire about the differences, if there are differences between writing a narrative text and an argumentative one, and she seems to be worrying especially about the linkers that make her writing coherent. Another question about the writing is about the various types of letters that students may be asked to write. So, linkers to make the writing coherent in differences between narrative and argumentative passages, and the various types of letters, please. Thank you. I'll hand over to Mr. Lueti.
Also, some of the students who called are confused about writing a speech and an article. So they would like to know what characterizes each. That's it.
شكرا لك. إذا هذوما الأربع أسئلة اللي وردوا علينا. سيدتي الكريمة تتفضل بالإجابة سيدة مريم.
Okay. Concerning students' question about the argumentative text, we are going to read the sample here. First, how to write an argumentative or opinion paragraph. It is a paragraph which revolves around its topic sentence, and all the details mentioned are supposed to have a close relationship with the topic sentence containing the main idea of the paragraph. On the following slide, you have a topic and a sample. The topic: in spite of the well-known harmful effects of smoking, many of your friends still go on smoking. Write a short article for your school magazine in which you try to convince your schoolmates to quit smoking. Before starting reading the paragraph, as you can see, the first sentence is underlined because it is the topic sentence, and some words are highlighted. These are the linkers used to link the arguments together. We start with the first sentence then. smoking cigarettes is hazardous or risky to your health. Now we are going to elaborate on the idea and explain how it can be hazardous. According to a study released several years ago, the intake of tar and nicotine found in cigarettes is linked with the development of cancer in laboratory animals. In addition to, so here the second argument, and therefore we need a linker of addition, the most serious and dreaded disease, cancer, cigarette smoking can aggravate other health problems. We are going to give examples how. For example, smoking can increase the discomfort for people with asthma. Another argument, another linker. Besides, it can give one a smoker's cough and contribute to bronchitis. Finally, it means that we have reached the last argument. Recent studies have shown that cigarette smokers are more susceptible to common colds and flu. Whether you get an insignificant cold or the major killer, cancer, smoking cigarettes is hazardous. Is it worth it? The last sentence here is the conclusion, and it aims at convincing your schoolmates to quit smoking. And the purpose of the question is to make them think of the issue. As you see, dear students, then all the sentences in the paragraph are short in order to avoid mistakes.
شكرا لك أستاذة مريم، يعطيك الصحة. إذا مرة أخرى الأستاذ وليد في الإجابة على السؤال الثاني، تفضل.
Thank you. Concerning the students' questions dealing with writing a narrative text, students should know that a narrative text usually reports an experience. It should be built on a sequence of events. It should place actions in time and contain verbs of action. Here is an example for you. The topic is write an article entitled "The Worst Holiday in My Life." We have highlighted for you on the screen all the linkers of sequence and the verbs of actions, which are here in the simple past, because we are telling a story that happened in the past. So let's start read the development of this topic. My family and I have just returned from the worst holiday we have ever had. The lifetime holiday, as the travel agent promised, turned into a real nightmare. And here we start by explaining why it turned into a real nightmare. Soon after our arrival, I dropped my new digital camera and broke it. Then the hotel was very old, and having a factory beside it made our stay more stressful. Moreover, the rooms were dirty and none of them was overlooking the beach. And the hotel manager refused to give us better rooms as there were no vacancies. Furthermore, the food was tasteless and unhealthy. On the second day, I got terrible diarrhea, which made me stay in my room for 3 days. In addition, none of us